Hello everybody and welcome to our YouTube channel.
Hello everyone.
My name is Jethro Sutherland-Stephenson.
And my name is Sharma Sutherland-Stephenson.
And we're married.
You're a happy little Indian-Australian gay couple.
Yes.
And this is Jethro Sudhir-Stephenson.
Yes.
This is our pet cat.
She's our daughter. In this video, we will, as Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra Jonas had done, we will be doing a marital questionnaire / quiz to test what we know and to give an insight into who we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And each of us have to answer the same question individually.
yeah.
And independent of each other. So you can't cheat on my answers. Alright, so the first question. What do I do in my free time and what is my passion?
I've written down some notes. He hasn't yet though. So, in his free time, Sudhir listens to and watches a few music videos from India's Coke studios.
That's true. I love Coke Studio.
Yeah, he really loves
Yeah.
Coke Studio. And videos by Michio Kaku. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes.
As well as videos on physics in general and the universe. That's what you do in your free time.
Wow,
Am I right?
that was so accurate.
Yeah?
Yeah, but this is exactly my everyday, I think.
Yeah.
Right, so what does Jethro does in his free time?
What do I do in my free time?
Right, so Jethro likes to do a lot of family history research, and he's really passionate about ancestry.com. And
Very much.
he's made quite a few really commendable family trees, and even commercially for people as well. Like for Liz, I think he worked.
For my distant cousin, I did some work for her.
And yeah,
Genealogical
so
work.
this is what Jethro does in his free time.
Yeah.
Next, what famous people do I find interesting?
Sudhir is very interested in Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, as I mentioned already, as well as other great thinkers like Albert Einstein. He also likes a lot of Indian actors like Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Yeah.
And that snake
And
lady.
Deepika Pandita.
Yeah, who was that snake lady?
Oh, the snake lady, that's actually Sridevi.
Yeah.
She was one of my favorite actors, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not actually the snake lady, but she's done so many roles of the same thing that everyone actually knows her like the snake lady.
Snake lady. Yeah. What famous people do I find interesting?
So, as far as I remember, the one famous character was Catherine Parr.
Yep.
That was Henry VIII's wife, I think, yeah. And that was, yeah.
Do you know the other ones that I like?
Anne Boleyn? What other famous people do you like? There's this lady who works for Ancestry.com, I think.
Yeah,
Krista Calvin, yeah. What TV or movie characters do I like?
It took me a while to think about this for some reason. You watch movies all the time. I've written down Sudhir likes Deadpool, Thor, Storm, Iron Man, and other superheroes, as well as Sheldon Cooper. And that's all that I could really think of, to be honest.
It's actually more than what I was thinking of. I was going to give just one name that you didn't mention, but you are very close to it. Doctor Strange.
Yeah, what TV/movie characters do I like?
Very easy. Catherine Pierce from Vampire Diaries.
She's my favorite. I've been in love with her since 2009. She's my role model.
And now mine. So, what is my dream job and what is my calling? My calling in life. What's my calling in life? What does that mean?
What is it that you feel like you're destined to do in life?
Ah, okay. Took a while for me to understand it, but
Sudhir's dream job is to teach mathematics. He would also love to work on string theory and quantum computers.
that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't really think that I will ever have to share this, but yeah, that's true. I'm a weirdo.
What is my dream job and what is my calling in life?
Jethro thinks that he is destined to be a porn star. No, just an actor, and in general. But yeah, and saying just an actor is not a thing. I apologize for that. An actor, he wants to be an actor.
What sort of actor would I like to do? Acting.
I've seen that you've done a few short series before. Like what was that girl where you put on?
I dressed up as a woman named Esmeralda.
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda to play, and she does play. But sadly, the footage for that show has been lost.
Yeah, but anyways, the dream job for Jethro would be an ancestral researcher.
Yeah, I would love to do genealogy, be a genealogist, or be the spokesperson for Ancestry.com for Australia. I would love that. I would also love to be a comedy actor and a dramatic actor. I just am in general life.
Alright. What did I do differently to my parents?
Sudhir differed from his parents by choosing an extremely controversial love marriage instead of society's norm, an arranged marriage.
That's quite obvious, I think.
Yeah. I did that pretty quickly, by the way.
Yeah.
What did I do differently to my parents?
I think the answer is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Your parents were never married, and you had decided that you wanted to get married, so it was a really big issue between us when we first got together, that I never wanted to get married. I hated marriage because of the nature of marriage that there is in India, mainly arranged marriages, and so I didn't really want to get married, but here we are. Right. What am I good at?
Well, I wrote down a lot for this.
Okay.
Honestly, it's only 2 lines, but Sudhir is very good at maths and physics, learning new languages and talking in general, and working. He's an excellent worker at whatever he does. So what am I good at?
Jethro's really fabulous at typing on computers. He can type without even looking at it, like literally with his eyes closed.
Just like literally like this.
Yeah, and like I have tried, I've closed his eyes and everything, but yeah, that was really amazing.
Actually do another video showing how talented I am later on.
Oh. Yeah, there's quite a few things actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would not like to mention all of them today, but
yeah. Let's go in more detail. I want to know.
Yeah, of course. I know you're fishing for compliments right now. So Jethro is good at cooking. He's good at cleaning. He's good at just general life more than me, I guess, because he knows how to have fun. Yeah. And he's teaching me.
Thanks, man. What else am I good
at? You're fucking good at kisses now.
Oh, thank you.
Right. What about me do you love physically and actions I do, etc.?
I love your eyes, your skin tone, your hair color. I really, really love his hair. Your private parts.
Wow. I don't think this can go on YouTube now.
Your intelligence.
Oh,
you're
sweet.
Super smart. Honestly, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Really, I believe that so much.
It's nice of you. Right.
And I love how funny you are. You're so funny all the time. You're just so funny. Oh my god, just little things.
Is that because of my accent, baby?
No.
You're fucking making fun of my accent, baby.
You don't have an accent. And also how caring you are about me. Which sounds a little bit cliche, but he's so caring about me. You know, often I'll be in the bathroom and he'll be walking around the house going, Jethro, 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 and then I'll be like, I'm in the bathroom, and then he'll be like, oh my god, I was scared you left or something. Like, it's so sweet. Oh my god, it makes me feel so good. Also, I love how in tune you are with me. Like, just the other day, for example, I was sitting in the room with him, and out of nowhere, I had a really sad thought just come into my head. And we weren't even looking at each other, actually. We were just sitting next to each other. And immediately, the second I had the sad thought, he said to me, what's wrong? And then I said, nothing's wrong. And he goes, no, something's wrong. I can feel it. And I was just like blown away. And it happens all the time. Like, you are so in tune.
Dramatic and unreal it sounds, it is very real. It's quite real. You wouldn't believe it.
We feel each other's emotions and thoughts. We can't read each other's thoughts, obviously, but we seem to know what each other's thinking. Yeah.
Like sometimes I would say, Jethro, can you get a cup of tea, please? And he would already be on the way to me. Yeah. He's like, I'm already making it.
Yeah, or can you get me some water? And I'm like, I just got the water.
So yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, that's what I love about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you love about me?
What do I love about Jethro? Right. So he is really witty and really intelligent. He corrects me a lot.
Thank you.
But I like it. A lot of times I say wrong stuff just because I want him to correct me.
Oh, thank you. I had the history in English tutoring, with the reading and writing. What else do you love about me?
I'm looking at I'm looking at the next part of the question. Physically, actions I do, etc. Right. So physically, you have a really big booty belly, and that's very nice, by the way. I think.
Yeah.
And I love cuddling Jethro. He's a really good cuddler. He's like a teddy bear sometimes.
Oh.
And see, like this. That's so sweet. Alright.
Okay.
Yes.
What else?
What are some?
You like my face? Oh my god.
Oh my god. What are we supposed to talk about the face? If I didn't like your face, I wouldn't marry you, baby.
Oh.
Just know that.
What do you like about my face? Describe it.
Like, you have a really good monobrow, by the way. I love it.
A little bit like 3D color.
Those jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a really good smile, beautiful smile, and I would love it if you had a bit of long hair, by the way, but that's okay.
Really?
I think.
I love dark hair. I had blonde hair once.
Opposite.
Naturally, I am like blonde mentally. And I have had blonde hair because I'm blonde mentally. But yeah, I love my dark hair.
No, Jethro's pretty cool. I love him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What else do you love about me? Tell me more, baby.
So Jethro likes it deep. You're really caring. You really show that you love me in all your actions.
Thanks, baby.
Right? Like I would get up in the morning and you would have tea ready. Like if I had to go to work at 4 in the morning, he would wake up with me at 4 in the morning and make me tea while I'm having a shower.
Yeah.
And always sees me off every time I was about to go to work. And that it might sound like it's a very little thing, but when you are in a relationship, like a married relationship, these little things matter a lot.
They do.
What are some of the moments or things I did that led to you loving me?
There are so many lovely things to mention.
Mm-hmm.
The first being, and this is all I've actually written down so far, that after my mother committed suicide, shortly before we started our relationship, I was so grief-stricken that I wasn't eating, which would surprise a lot of people because I have a bit of a belly now.
That's because I feed him now.
So I wasn't eating at all, and I was so deeply depressed. And we weren't living together at the time either, so he would actually work during the night time. Then after work, he would finish in the morning. He would drive home, cook something, and then drive to me, and then make sure that I ate. And it was just so sweet. Oh my God. I never have felt so cared about like that from someone who was, I don't know.
We didn't even know each other for that long.
Yeah, we didn't know each other that well at that time.
But I was always so conscious because I just found out that Jethro's mother had passed away, and he was living in Nashville and I was living in Homebush, which is like 20 minutes in car, so it wasn't much for me to go around. But
it meant a lot to me.
Every day when I finished work, I used to think, I was like, oh fuck, he wouldn't have eaten, because I could not even imagine what it would have felt like to lose your mother. So I just tried to be with you as much as I could in that time.
So much to me that you did that too. That's just one of many things that you have done that I've fallen in love with you for.
Now it's my turn. You ask the question, baby.
So, what are some of the moments or things I did that led to you loving me?
Some of the moments and things, like starting from the very first day.
Yeah.
So,
without too much detail on that.
Yeah. Jethro showed me from very first day when we met that he was in love with me, and
I've actually fallen in love with you the moment I met you.
Tried to contact me for so long after the first date, but I couldn't, get it together because I was working and studying all the time, so I didn't have enough time for a relationship at that point. But
and you weren't ready either.
You never know when you're ready. Actually, there's no right answer to that.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just and every time he would visit me, he would show me some really cool shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And we would talk a lot. We would just lay on the bed and talk so much. And I think those really intimate communication, that's what did the job.
Yeah, we really got to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I started.
I was more than just a colourful shirt.
Yeah.
So, but what were some specific moments that you started falling in love with me?
Specific moments would be in Asheville house. Actually, I remember when you and Lloyd used to have a bit of conflict. I remember. Yeah. Because Jethro makes a lot of jokes, and
And they're usually pretty
dark, but we like a bit of dark sense of humor, so it was all right with us. But you know, as we are, we think everybody's just like us. Everybody likes the humor, and nobody gets offended. But little did we know that people do get offended with the, like, you know,
smallest things,
really little things. And there was our
what did I offend him with? I can't remember.
You remember Lloyd?
Yeah, I know Lloyd.
You were trying to tell him that Sudhir looks more like Egyptian.
Yeah, I was trying to say that he doesn't look that Indian. Look, show them your face. Like you do right now with, I don't know, but at the time, at the time I thought you looked very Egyptian. And Lloyd, I said, looked very Indian.
Our Indian friend took an offense with that because he interpreted it as Indian people don't look good. Lloyd started. He started sort of abusing you. And
he was fully
when you were in the kitchen, you were cooking something, and he started abusing you. And I was like, "Mate, you don't fucking say that again." And he freaked out, and he was like, "Oh, you both are ganging up on me."
He thought we were ganging up on him, and I was like, "Whoa!
What is this ganging up about? You're insulting my fiance in front of me, and you want me to be okay with it? What sort of a person are you?"
And then he started arguing with you in Hindi as well, and I had no idea what was going on at that point. I think. Remember?
Yeah, he was saying like, "Oh, you're going against me for this white guy," and I'm like,
"Wow, that's shocking," because I actually thought he was a friend of mine at the time.
So that was quite shocking, but it made me feel good that
it made me feel really protected by you.
Even when I stood up, and it was like had nothing to do, like you didn't really do much in there, but I was still feeling really loved that that I'm doing something for you.
I was so happy. Yeah. Misunderstandings escalating quickly in my life. Now, Sudhir has changed a lot since the day we first met. He had a lot of arrogance when we first met. Like, honestly, buckets of it.
It's true.
And in my opinion, he wasn't very nice of a person at that point, because you didn't show me how nice you were. You were very guarded. And also very...
I had so many reasons for it.
I know.
I think the direction of affection has changed.
Honestly, you have changed a lot. And there's so much I could go into.
And it is right that I was a little arrogant.
A lot.
But the reason was the atmosphere that I was living in as well.
Yeah.
Because I was working with a lot of people who had, how should we say, anger issues. And people didn't accept gay people much there, so a lot of people were really just bullies. And when you get through this sort of scenarios, you forget how to enjoy it. So I guess that arrogance was just one of the characteristics that came out of that trauma that I had.
But now you're actually very humble and very caring, and you're really nice now, to be honest. Like, he wasn't very nice before.
Your turn. How have I?
Where am I? Yeah. How have I changed from the day that we first met?
Should I say a good 90%?
Yeah, I was thinking 110 for you.
Yeah. So he was just a sort of like a careless teenager when we met, and was in fun mode a lot of time, which was actually good. I liked that a lot because I didn't have a really fun life, so I thought I could live through you with that time. And that's why I never used to tell you every time, when I was working, but you would go out to the club. I would never say no. I was like, no, go out. If I can't go, that doesn't mean you don't have to go.
That's so
At
true.
least one of us should enjoy.
Yeah.
And there were times when I picked you up from parties at 2 o'clock or 3
in
in the
nowhere,
morning.
honestly, he picked me up. Oh, you're my hero, baby.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I really like to party.
but it's kind of a good thing, and he's actually become really responsible.
Yeah, so much.
Ever since we met, I think. The first reason being because he didn't want to lose me.
Yeah.
And
very high maintenance.
And he's really cooperative. He likes to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah, I do.
Everyone around him, like,
I'm very caring like that.
Maybe dad, maybe
motherly.
kitty cat, maybe me.
Yeah. I mother everyone. I mother my dad, I mother my husband, I mother my cat. It's so true, but yeah, I honestly always want people to feel good, because I know how hard it is to feel depressed or
Lonely.
not good enough or lonely or just sad in general. And I just want people to know that they're cared about, you know? And I like caring, it makes me feel good.
When and where did we meet?
We met on the 8th of April 2016 at Lidcombe train station. Do you remember?
Was it 8th of April?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to look it up again.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was 24th of April for some reason.
No, because we started our relationship on the 24th.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Not the same year, obviously. That would be way too quick.
Yeah, I just had 24th of April in my mind. So
Yeah. And the reason that I actually remembered the date as 8th of April is because on Twitter, which I don't use anymore, I actually tweeted a picture of me the morning after I had woken up, after we had met, and I was just feeling so happy and in love with him, to be honest. Like, it's a little bit cheesy, but yeah. And I'm still in love with him all this time later.
I remember we met in Lidcombe.
Actually, my first date as well.
I remember, actually, you said that it was your first date.
It was, and I just said that too.
What? I still don't believe it.
Well, I've been thinking on this actually, and I had a relationship before we got together, but I had known him, my ex, since we were about 5 years old, and he had broken up.
So more of a friend than a boyfriend?
Yeah, and he had actually broken up with his boyfriend, and then we got together really quickly, so I was probably the rebound, to be honest. And we didn't date before that. We went out together to food places as a couple, but
we used to go on a lot of dates, actually.
Yeah, but the reason why it was my first date with you, I call it that, is because I didn't actually date my ex before we got together, and that was different to a date, you know. So we went on my first date, which is what I would like to call that.
How fucking technical are you, mate?
Thank you.
So, what makes us a good couple?
What makes us a good couple? I believe our total honesty with each other, good and bad, and our care, love, and devotion to each other. That makes us a good couple.
I wanted to say it because I have witnessed a lot of people saying that, including my psychologist, he said to both of us, he said, the level of honesty and transparency that I've seen in your relationship, I haven't witnessed in any other relationship. And that was like one of the biggest achieving moment of my life, thinking that, oh wow, like even the third person who we don't even know,
he's also a professional.
He's a professional, and he, you know, the psychologists are not stupid people. They're really smart. They go through so many people every day, and
also
getting such a compliment from someone like that was like meant a lot.
Can I also point out that he was seeing a psychologist not because of me, but because of his mother. But we won't go into detail about that. That was just something I had to say, you know. He's not seeing a psychologist because he's gay. He was seeing it because of his family's crazy
and the work issues that happened.
And the work issues. But we're not going to go into too much detail about that. But he's perfectly happy and healthy now, and everything's great.
There we are. Now, what would you like people's opinions to be regarding us as a couple?
I would like people to think of us as a sort of good power couple. Like,
Define power couple. What do you
when
say?
I think of a power couple, I think of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. But I don't think about, what's his name? President Donald Trump and whatever his newest wife is. Maliva or something like that, but I think she changed her name as well. Yeah, I don't think of them as a power couple. That they're a weak couple. They're not in love. They're not attracted to each other, I don't think. But I think of Michelle and Barack Obama as a power couple, or maybe Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Nick Jonas. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. I would love for people to actually think that we are a good couple and not be judging us and hating us for reasons that are just not there.
Yeah, a lot of people just look at the gay relationships really inferiorly, and
with so much hate and judgment.
They do not realize how deep it hurts when you hear comments like you gay, you faggot, you
really.
And literally anything. And then like the incidents that happened where I was attacked by two Somalians, and the reason?
Because we're gay.
Because we're gay.
And we were holding hands.
Yeah. So these are the like perceptions that are like to change.
Yeah.
And this is not just for our good, this is for everyone.
For everybody's good, yeah. How have your opinions on marriage changed since becoming married?
Right. I'll answer that question actually. So, I would say completely 180-degree turn, because I was so much against marriage because of my own personal beliefs. I thought that marriage is just not important. It's just a paper that says that you're together. But literally, after being married, I started feeling that I belong somewhere. Wow. And it feels
it's a
way
level
more.
Of love I've never felt
I feel more more authentic when I say husband instead of the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't need to explain anymore. All I just say is like I live with my husband, and that's it.
It feels great.
It feels great. It gives you a satisfaction that that you have a legit relationship accepted by people.
Because for some reason, boyfriend equals acquaintance in the gay relationships, pretty much. Because 1 week you're with this person, and then you're with this person, and then you're with this person. It just doesn't matter. But marriage actually raises us up to the level that straight couples have, and that is my missus, which they can say even if they're not married. Yeah, we had to become married for our relationship to have any real value in other people's minds. Marriage equality in Australia was legalized on the 9th of December 2017.
Yeah.
And because of the Australian Marriage Act 1961, you have to give 1 month notice before you can get married. Unlike America, I guess, where you can get married when you're drunk in Las Vegas to a stranger. So
we had to organize a few things before we could just go and get married.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really great day.
It was
amazing. I think you can see it on YouTube. You will see how fun it was. What about your opinion on marriage, really?
How has my opinion on marriage changed? So I don't really like when people say marriage is just a piece of paper, because my birth certificate is also a piece of paper, yet I have Australian citizenship because of this one piece of paper, right? Mm-hmm. And if I didn't have that birth certificate, well, I would be an alien in my own country. So marriage to me was always more than just a piece of paper, which is actually what a lot of people have thought of that being as, you know, marriage means a lot to people. You know.
His father became so proud of him,
Yeah,
as,
because I finally got
because
married.
he finally
you know?
got married,
Yeah.
even though he was gay, and he didn't care anymore. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
My
who cares if
father-
you're gay or not? At least you're married now."
Yeah, and that was actually a huge change because when I was younger, my father had actually told my mother and her relatives that if I turned out to be gay, he would kill everyone. So when we got married, he actually told me that he was proud of me, and that just meant so much because I had come from that scared gay kid in the closet to being out and proud and being able to inspire other people to do the same.
And we currently live with Dad, actually.
Yeah, we live with it.
So,
Yeah, life is great.
on an average day, what is my routine? What do I do between waking and sleeping?
So each day you will wake up lately at about maybe 11 or 12
that's just
or
now.
1
That's,
in the afternoon.
that's just now that I've been staying at home.
Yeah,
but
but no, but I mean, like, we're talking about now. He used to wake up. He used to wake up at like 4 in the morning, like, and do amazing work. And now, but I'm not judging, by the way. But yeah, lately he'll wake up a little bit later than me, and he will also go to bed before me, which is surprisingly. So you'll wake up after me, and you'll go to bed before me. But yeah, after you wake up, you'll go to the toilet, and then we'll have tea or coffee together, and then we'll enjoy our day. And then maybe we'll do gardening or watch a lot of TV shows. And
well, currently we're watching Designated Survivor on Netflix.
Yeah.
Watch it, guys. It's really cool.
and the other day we saw Black Mirrors, which was my
Oh,
God, that
that's
was
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Black
That was really
Mirror.
good. Oh, my feet are hurting so much. So what else? Let me think more about your
I
day
cook
to day.
sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the nighttime, he will cook, or I will cook. Either way. And yeah.
And
What?
it usually involves a lot of onions.
Yeah, I love onions. I've always used a lot of
Tomatoes.
onions. Yeah. So where is it? On an average day, what is my routine?
Right. So Jethro usually wakes up before I even know about anything. I guess I'm.
Do you know what time I usually wake up?
I got no idea, baby.
All right.
Like let's say 8 o'clock, maybe, I think.
Sometimes, yeah.
So, sometimes around 8, 9, 8,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So you wake up around that time and you stay in the bed with me for like half an
At
hour.
least an hour. This takes me a long time to fully mentally wake up.
And then you go, you make tea, you like wake up.
Hold on. The moment I wake up,
Yeah.
what does our darling cat over do?
Yes, I forgot about her.
I just
actually.
woke
I'm
her up
sorry.
now, by the way. Every
Yeah.
morning.
Every morning she comes at our door, and like what time does she come? Maybe 6 o'clock. What?
Sometimes it used to be even earlier than that, but
Yeah.
now she knows that I won't wake up at that time for her.
So she wakes us up every day.
She'll start going.
Not me.
Tell
him.
us what does she do then?
She starts meowing in front of door and
Yeah.
starts calling for Jethro.
Yeah, and it honestly reminds me of Mum. She'll go, Mo, like Mum, I want my breakfast.
So
It's
yeah,
not right, kitty cat.
that's Jethro's little daughter here.
Yeah, our daughter. She came into our life when we were together, baby.
Yeah, that's true. She's sweet. I like her.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else? So
And-
after I feed her,
And he fed our half a kilo mince to this cat.
yeah, the other day we had
How
half a
dare
kilo
you.
of mince, and Dad was really upset about it. But it was sitting in the fridge for 2 days and went a bit dry. And she was whinging for food, and I was half asleep, and we didn't have cat food. What was I going to do?
I
Mother's
can go
going to
and
take
buy
care
it.
of her baby. So yeah, what else do I do after I make the cat food? Let's see what I do.
Right, you give cat the food, and then
And then
then what do you do, baby? You
Then I'll make the tea or
mostly
coffee.
work on your
No.
computer.
Think about it just from each morning.
Yeah.
I'll feed the cat, but he's asleep, so he doesn't.
I wouldn't,
really-
I, would,
he doesn't
I wouldn't
really-
know what you would be doing there.
So I'll feed her,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will make tea and coffee for you and Dad.
That's exactly what I said, bitch.
I know.
How dare you?
And then what do I do?
What do you do? Then we kind of leave it to the day usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go out and we go to the shops, go for a lunch, go for a walk around the block, and have a good time.
Yeah.
And watch a movie together, and everything else that married couples do, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What type of food do I like?
You love Indian food.
That's true.
I've never met a person
Guilty
that
as
loves
charged.
their own cultural food so much as you.
But it is. Look, Indian food, let me tell you, by looks, it's not the best looking food on the planet, but it is one of the best tasting food on the planet. So I love my spices.
Yeah.
I love Mexican food a lot as well. Dad makes taco, which
I have to answer
love.
this more too, though. I gotta answer it for you. What other food do you like? Let me think.
I love okra.
Yeah, you love okra.
I love okra.
That still counts as Indian food.
Yeah, fuck you.
You also...
Eggplants.
Let me answer for you, but so he doesn't like sweet food very much, and that's only because he's worried about his tummy. Because taste buds, everybody loves sweet food, I'm sure.
I don't really like sweet food much, to be honest.
I'm so shocked by that, by the way. We're so different in this one area of life.
I never used to eat sweet food when, because when I was taking, Mom used to always say like, "Oh, your teeth will rot, don't eat sugar."
Well, she's not very good at making sweet food, from what I've tasted.
So we, it kind of just clicked into the brain, like code engraved there: don't eat sweet, don't eat sweet, don't eat sweet. Because
his mom makes sweets, right? She'll just get like a bag of sugar and she'll just push it all together and she'll go, "There you go, here's your sweets." And it's like the thickest grains of sugar, and it's like, oh, and I'm like, oh my god, no thank you. I don't eat white chocolate because that makes my teeth feel uncomfortable, let alone just a bowl of sugar.
Your turn.
Also, I haven't finished what types of food you like. You also like Chinese food and
yes,
Thai food?
Chinese food, Thai food, yes. Green curry.
Big
curry.
foodie you are, baby. He just loves food, to be honest, as long as it's not too sweet. He doesn't like a lot of meat. Like, he was raised as a non-meat eater, as a vegetarian, but now he does try meat. Yeah. But he doesn't like too much of it.
Yeah, it's just kind of become your eating habit when you've been eating it for so long.
Yeah.
So
what sort of foods do I like?
What sort of food do you like? He's an animal. Now, Jethro likes all sort of food, and lately he has been really interested in Crankskies.
I love cheese
Crankskies. And you love baking.
I love baking, yeah.
You made those damper breads the other day.
Australian bush bread, damper. I love baking.
You used to make pancakes before as well, and that was one of his things. Yeah. And I love them too, but I never tried them before he introduced it to me.
Thank you. That's
nice. And what else? Like poached eggs, I think.
I love poached eggs. Right. I also like scrambled eggs, or just fried eggs, or
just
hard-boiled eggs.
So he's a really big egg eater.
Yeah. And what other food do I like?
He loves sweet food. He loves chocolate. He loves candies.
No,
not candies that
not
much.
Not as much candy now, but some butterscotch candy I like.
Hang on. What are the candies? Hang on.
I think there is much.
Those snakes. You know those jelly snakes? They're pretty good.
I don't like them that much.
I do.
I mean, I like the taste, but I will avoid them if I can for some reason.
I love my Lolix kind.
Oh yeah, so does that.
Yeah, and Jethro likes to try new food. He usually tries like every sort of food. He doesn't care whether it's Indian, Australian, or Thai, or Chinese, or anything. Yeah. He's like, whoa, food. But yeah, we go to our local Chinese restaurant a lot, and they're really yummy. Really yummy. Yeah, washing.
Yeah, washing. It's called washing, like washing the clothes. I love it.
Right. What type of non-alcoholic drinks do I like?
You love milk and hot milk as well, like
milk
boiled on the stove. You like tea, obviously,
Mhm.
Indian style tea, and white people tea. Tea bags. Also, you like this almond and what's it?
Almond milk. It's
No,
called
no,
almond
it's not
milk.
just almond milk. Almond milk is disgusting. You like the special sort.
Yeah, they got almond fragments in it. It's,
Almond and
it's like
what's that?
almond
What's that?
and milk powder.
No. The
what
one
is
that
it?
you bought in the can last week. It was almond milk with
It's
saffron, and it tasted amazing, like caramel somehow.
Saffron.
Yeah, that was
I
nice.
was missing what it was.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what it was, going through my memory bank. What other drinks do you like?
Like in soft drinks?
Juice. He loves juices, like mango juice, mango nectar, orange juice, apple juice, sort of. I think he prefers orange though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a bit of savory taste in it.
Yeah. Water. He loves water.
And you don't drink enough water.
I don't.
Right.
What types of non-alcoholic drinks do I like?
He's not really fond of many soft drinks, but he does like the Coke from McDonald's diluted.
Yeah.
It's not as strong, and yeah,
That's
it
true.
still gives you the same sort of
Yumminess.
yumminess. And have you tried other flavors of Coke actually?
Yeah,
Like vanilla Coke,
vanilla Coke I like. Cherry Coke.
milk. We love milk
I
as
love
well.
milk. Yeah, chocolate milk
Mainly chocolate milk.
mainly.
Mainly chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Can we talk about alcoholic drinks now?
Yeah. No. All right. What type of alcoholic drinks do I like?
That's pink Moscato wine. That's,
I love it. Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
And vodka,
Yeah.
raspberry vodka especially.
Yeah. That's nice.
Raspberry vodka is really good. And
Just vodka. And anything else, really. I've even had it with chocolate milk.
you usually drink this any kind of alcohol actually.
But mostly sweet. I don't like savory
Sweet,
ones.
yeah, sweet alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, Long Island teas.
Yeah, I love Long Island.
Long
Iced
Island
tea.
teas
Yeah,
are
they're
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly because the cup is huge.
And they really knock you out.
Yeah.
The one that we're missing. Well,
I love apple cider as well.
Oh yes,
Kahlua.
Kahlua.
Yeah.
Tia Chi, is it?
I don't know what that is.
That's another coffee liqueur, I think. Tia something.
Tia Maria.
Tia Maria. Tia Maria.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was going to say Tai Chi.
Yeah, just sweet alcohol.
Yeah. What type of alcoholic drinks do I like?
You like less sweet alcohol drinks than me. Like gin and tonic for some reason.
Okay, this is not going on YouTube now because you
Why?
said gin and tonic.
That's true though, right?
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah.
It used to be one
Which
of
is gin and soda water. Can you believe it? Oh my god. Look how beautiful he is, and he drinks like an old person.
How dare you? I used to love gin and tonic, by the way.
Yeah, I hate it. It's so gross. I'm sorry.
It used to be one of the
No
cheapest drinks in the bar, you know? And that's
When it
why I
comes to
started drinking
alcohol that's not beer, I don't drink cheap. No, I'm really kidding. I drink cheap. I do. Alright.
it. Right.
We share the fact that he tutored people in mathematics and I tutored people in English.
I also
reading.
tutored people in English as well, actually.
Oh wow, well there you go.
Yeah, at
That's something I like.
Harry's English Club. I worked there for like just a very short period of time, let's say around a month or something, just before I came to Australia.
Wow,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I was just occupying myself before I, you know, get
Come to
on.
Australia,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And
I volunteered tutored people in my high school. It was in 2008.
and I was in year 8.
Wow. So yeah, I tutored year 7s in reading and writing. And I actually taught my brother how to read and write, which I'm very happy about. Yeah.
And
was one of my
I did
proud
a lot
accomplishments.
of private tutoring as well back in India. I just had a few students and coming at home. Most of those were just sons or daughters of acquaintances who, you know, who just found out that I was really good at maths.
Cool.
And they were like, oh, because they didn't want to send their kids outside of the village.
Okay.
And they didn't want I have to like pick them up and
Yeah.
drop them off all the time. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, if we got someone here,
Local,
why
yeah.
not to?
That's
And
cool.
the results that came after that were quite amazing as well.
That's good.
Yeah, like I had only a few students, like 3 or 4 students.
Yeah,
but
I only had 1 or 2.
all of them did really well in their exams and everything. Yeah, it made me proud. So yeah,
That's great. So yeah, that's something that we have in common.
actually, one of my student, girl student, she speaks that sign language.
Oh, wow.
She knows sign language, and she recently went to Europe.
Yep.
Yeah, to teach sign language there,
Wow,
to
that's
give
cool.
lectures on it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great.
So that made me feel really proud as well.
That's so cool.
That one of my students went to
Become a
Europe.
teacher.
Yeah.
That's cool. Another similarity we have is the fact that we were both raised by single parents. His mother was widowed and my father and mother had separated, and my mother had signed away her rights to be my mother legally. So we didn't see our other parent, I didn't see my mom, he didn't see his dad. So I think this is something very deep that we have in common.
Yeah, we share.
Yeah.
Do you believe in destiny? What do you think destiny is?
Do I believe in destiny?
How do you define destiny?
For me,
your definition.
my definition of destiny, for some reason when I think of the word destiny, obviously I think of people, and then I think of a higher power. So then I sort of think like our soul is meant to do something in life, right? An example would be it also makes me think of doppelgangers and reincarnation for some reason. So my father looks almost exactly the same as his great-grandfather. Maybe there was a reincarnation in the family because that great-grandfather didn't do everything he needed to do in life, so he was reborn as my father, So maybe we were someone else in the past life and we've come to this life to do something great, and obviously we have each other now and that's pretty great, but we can do things together, So I believe that there is a destiny and everything happens for a reason, and it's a lot deeper than we actually can even imagine.
Right.
Same question for
That
you.
was quite elaborative, I would say. But
Thank you.
I think I do believe in destiny, but not as much.
Okay.
I think we are destined to write our own future,
Yeah, that's cool.
and that's what I've done so far in my life. I've never waited for fate to give me a chance. I've always
Done it yourself.
went out there and did.
But what
that
if
before.
it was someone or something pushing you towards certain things in life?
It's quite interesting, as people say, like that.
Because I think
That
individual
that
actions
super
we
force
choose,
that people say that super force is making it do this sort of things, but sometimes I find it hard to believe, and sometimes I just I don't know, I just I have a different definition of destiny. Destiny to me, because I think everything in a scientific way, and I think destiny is a series of probabilities.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's actually, it's you know for sure that if this thing will happen, then the next thing will follow, and the next thing will follow. So you always have a choice in between those scenarios to change it all the way around, and that can create that.
I
create
thought
a
of
lot
actually
of
an
parallel
interesting
timelines.
metaphor as you were describing that just then. I think destiny is a thing, possibly. But the way I was just imagining it, I thought of a very specific thing.
Usually, what we cannot explain is what we call destiny.
I think, imagine destiny like a river, okay?
Okay.
So it doesn't affect every single decision that we make, but the river is only flowing in a certain direction. Now, that's the destiny of that water to travel down that river. But along the way, some things could happen. The water could go like this, or it could splash up a little bit, or it could spill onto the bank.
But at the
It doesn't
end,
matter. It's not predetermined for this splash of water to do these things, but the journey on which it is going is the destiny itself, I think. And the intricate things like our decision making and things like that, the actions that we do, is entirely up to us. But I think destiny is like a road or a map, and you know.
Remember, I usually tell you about that poem that I once read in year 4, the poem about the raindrop.
Yeah.
How the raindrop is so scared when it's falling off the sky, and it's like, what is going to happen to me? Am I going to just drop in the earth and become nothing as a part of the soil and just get dissolved in there? Will I just go in? Will I drop in the sea and just become negligible to the whole ocean?
Yep.
And what is my destiny? And the rain, that raindrop itself, she's really conscious, and she's consistently thinking about what will be my destiny, what will be my destiny.
Yep.
And as soon as she let go of that fear, she fell in.
Falling down to the earth.
she fell in a seashell, and that raindrop became a pearl. So
that's nice.
With that, we would like it, as nice as it sounds. The moral of the story was meant to be that don't worry about what your destiny is. Just enjoy the journey.
That's
just
nice.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Whatever you're supposed to do, you will do that.
Yeah.
But just enjoy the journey.
But just as I said about the river flowing only a certain way, that water can only fall from the top to the bottom. So that is the destiny of that. And whatever happens in between, or
that water that's falling can be blown away by the wind, and
that's true.
Can go, instead of a straight line, can go somewhere else, and that might change its destiny.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
It's really subjective. Next, what do you think about God? Go into detail. Do you think any current or past religion was right about God?
Now, when I think about God, I think usually that it was a woman, which is completely different to most patriarchal societies, but I imagine God would be a woman because women are a lot smarter than men, and
why would you say that?
Also, just in the way that we are raised, like hunter-gatherers for the men, and women handle the raising of the children, the educating of the children, you know, everything. Nurses are women usually, while the doctor just walks around proud, getting a bigger salary.
There's a lot of male nurses in Australia.
I know, I was just saying, like, society has made it in a way that women actually handle a lot of things that men do not, and are a little bit too arrogant to handle, like, oh, I won't cook the dinner because I'm the husband, you know, my wife does this thing for me. So I imagine God would be a woman, and like with women in many societies, she handles everything and she goes on to be unnoticed. Just like when she gives birth to her child, but on the birth certificate it mentions only the father's name. So I imagine the goddess is up there and she's created all this lovely world, and just like with people, she's been forgotten about. Just like every woman usually seems to feel, especially when they're older, like the goddess would be. Because there was actually a study saying that older women go on to become invisible, which is terrible, but yeah. So I imagine it's a she, or at least genderless. But also the reason I say that God would be a woman is also because in the womb, we all start off as women. And God created us in her image. So why would God create us in his image and then make us a woman to start off in the womb? So that was my way of thinking of that. Also, I just like powerful women, basically.
I have quite...
Also, I have a little bit more to say on it.
And
so
if the current or past religion was
Yes.
right about God?
I do not think that any of the religions right now are really right about God. I think that God, we imagine God to have a body, right? Like Jehovah or Shiva or anybody like that. But honestly, I think that God could be a sort of spirit being where she could actually be both male and female, but really it could just be like the light itself, right? So there's light everywhere, but no one asks which light came first. You know, was it this sun or was it this star or was it this light? You know, light is just light. So I think God is something like that. Like it's
Everything?
Everything. It's the consciousness behind everything. And I think, like they say, something about the universe is just experiencing itself, and that's what we are. I think God is that universe. You know?
Yeah, that was quite nice, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think about God? When I learnt about the word God, I was told that God actually stands for generator, operator, and destroyer. So something that creates you, looks after you, and then disintegrates you to keep the life circle, which is where reincarnation and stuff comes in play. And I'm a Hindu by religion, and as far as I know, my knowledge could be right or wrong, but as far as I know, before India was attacked by any other country or any other myths or beliefs, the total population in India was 330 million at that time, and the nation was all Hindu nation. So what Hindu actually meant was, it didn't mean that you have to believe in a specific god. They had, the ideology was, you create your own god. You make a picture of your own god. You will tell what quality your god will have, and everybody was just free to worship whoever they want, and people were just happy. But then the ideology came about, that one god ideology. From the people started being embarrassed of having more than one gods.
Okay.
So a lot of people still make fun of Hindus because they have more than one gods. Yeah. There are like 330 million gods.
Wow.
But what actually would have happened is, when the invasion started, when the invasion happened, any invasion, right? Because there was a lot of Mughal invasion and then Mongolians and whatsoever and blah blah blah.
Yep.
So they came to India with their ideology of one god, and they started making fun of people. So people stopped making their own god after that.
Okay.
And the number just got limited to whatever it was, 330 million. It didn't increase, it didn't decrease. But yeah, this actually makes the picture really clear for me, thinking like, oh, what is the, the nature of God? The nature of God is what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, what you think it would be. So, and if you want to just believe in a creator, then it's good to believe in God, but God doesn't help those who don't help themselves. So don't even think that you can just
pray
and to follow one religion and you can just get out of everything. None of the religion is any fraction close to the definition of God yet.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't
that was
think
actually a really good point, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people believe that they can just pray to God and God will give them whatever they need. But God didn't pray to God when God needed to create everything.
Yeah.
God did it himself.
He created. He did himself. Yeah.
Yeah. God created everything himself, and I think, as the Bible says, that God created man in his image, and that could be woman as well. Basically, it's just taking charge of your own life and caring and creating and doing the best for this world, which is what I believe God had done in the beginning. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I explained quite well about my part of the God, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So, next question. What do you think happens when we die?
When we die, okay, I believe in spirits, but also before I get into that, I want to tell you a very early memory that I have.
I'm going to explain it really well.
Which could have been a dream, but for somehow, ever since a child, I can remember this really, really strange memory. Really, really strange memory where I didn't have a body, but there was like, imagine a circle, right? Sort of looking through this circle, and everything else was blue. So it's like I was in the sky, but it was like a sort of a cloudy blue. And I was looking through this circle, which was obviously a portal, and a voice told me, you can either, this is basically what it said, you can either go back, but you won't remember anything about your past life at all, and you can do it all over again. Or you can take this option, it was to my right of the circle, and go to the afterlife. And I remember I said, I want to do it again. And straight away I did it again.
How did you?
I don't know, because I wasn't ready to go to the afterlife.
When did you think of it?
I can remember this memory. It's one of my earliest memories, to be honest.
Okay,
it's really, really trippy. But I remember that I wanted to do it all again because I knew what life was, and I loved my life. I loved caring about people. I loved learning new things, and it was that idea that I was this soul and I could just do it all again. And then once I pass away, I'll be back at that decision place. And then if I want, I can go to the afterlife, or I can do it all again. So it was also this fear of going into the afterlife because I didn't know what to expect, but I had lived before. And so I chose to do it again within less than a minute. That's what I remember. I made the decision straight away, and then I guess I was reborn. But there's more I want to go in. But you believe in reincarnation as well. But it was honestly beautiful. It was so beautiful. And so I actually am conflicted with this because part of me believes that spirits exist in a dimension, I guess you could know as purgatory. But now I've come to think that spirits who felt like they were robbed of their life, like they died too quickly, or they needed to do something, they are trapped because they haven't finished what they were doing. You know, the movie isn't over yet, the movie has stopped. So they've that trauma of what's happening, you know, that keeps them in the world as a spirit somehow. And those who feel like they've had a full life and it was their time to go, everything was wonderful, beautiful ending to their life, they will go up into the heavens because they have no thing holding them there, you know? There's nothing there. They're ready for what's to come. So they will float up into that place, and then if they are good, they will have the decision, what would you like to do? Would you like to go into the afterlife, or would you like to do it again, reincarnate? So that's what I think. And actually, before my mother committed suicide, she was actually briefly choked to death, or her windpipe was crushed or something, when I was a kid. And she was brought back to life shortly afterwards, and she told the person who had killed her that, why did you bring me back? There was beautiful light and beautiful music, but she was brought back because my brother and I were crying, and you know, she had a job to do. And I've actually seen spirits as well. I've seen what I would call shadow ghosts. From the peripheral of my vision. When I was living in Greenacre when I was a kid, I could see from the peripheral of my vision these two shadow legs, normal sized legs, moving like this off of the ledge of the roof. And when I looked directly at them, they were gone. But when I turned back this way and looked from the corner of my eye, the legs were still moving.
Wow.
Yeah, fully, clearly through the peripheral. Just like I'm looking at the screen, right? But I can still see the towel on the door. Yeah?
That's, yeah.
Yeah, fully, very clearly. And also at my friend's house, we started speaking about ghosts, and all of a sudden, this full-on hooded shadow girl was by his door, reaching for the door handle. We both saw it and we both freaked out. And another experience I had with ghosts is when I did this Ouija board, or a Ouija board, with my brother and my mother's boyfriend's daughter and her friend. We did the Ouija board, and we all held hands, as they say, around it, that they say don't let go until you've closed everything down, because when you let go, you release the spirit that you've contained in the Ouija board into the living world where you are. So we actually let go, right? Because it was moving and we got scared. And then afterwards, my brother and the girls, they went outside to go to the pool, because the pool was just downstairs from Mum's apartment. And I was in the room by myself, and there was just a ceiling fan on. And out of nowhere, imagine this was like clothing, right? There's all clothing on the floor. The clothing starts lifting up like this.
Wow.
And I was staring at it and I went, whoa. And it just kept lifting up, like fully like that. And I somehow sort of convinced myself, maybe it's the fan, but it's never done that before. It's never lifted the clothing off the ground. And then the cat, not her, but my mother's cat, she came up to me like this.
Lucy?
Yes. She came up to me like this, and she was staring at me, and her eyes were so grey. I don't know, are they grey normally? I think they're yellowy. But they were grey, just like her fur tone. And I was like fully freaked out. And the clothing was still lifting up at the same time. And then my brother opened the door, the clothing dropped, the cat went back to normal, and everything was fucking normal. Except my mother, who wasn't at home when we did the Ouija board, and we didn't tell anybody, she came up to me, and she was very spiritual. She said, "What happened?" And then I said, "What do you mean?" And then she said, "I felt someone sit on the bed next to me and no one was there." She said, "There's a spirit in here now, what have you done?"
Wow.
Yeah.
She said, "There's a spirit here now, what have you done?"
Yeah, what have you done?
Wow.
And then I told her about the Ouija board. And she actually liked it. She told me she felt like it was a good spirit, at least. Yeah.
Alright, so it's my turn to answer the question. What do you think happens when we die spiritually? Right. So, first of all, I have this belief where I think that no one really ever dies, because if you want to look at it in a scientific way, you can see that there's a law of conservation of mass, right? This is universal law that mass cannot never be created nor destroyed.
Yep.
You cannot create something from nothing. You cannot destroy anything completely either.
Okay.
Right? It can change its form from one to the other,
Okay.
but it cannot be destroyed.
Okay.
So that is actually really relevant to this thing, like what do you think happens when we die? So I believe that if we look at any religion, because we're talking spiritually, right? People say that we, like humans, are a part of God as well, because God made us. So first of all, like if God created anything, that would be pure. That would be good in nature, should we say, right? If there is so-called God, and if he really exists the way we think he does, then he would have created everything from his own image, right? And everything would be pure. But we see a lot of crimes and everything happening in the world as well. So in Hinduism, actually, is way of saying it. It says that we all have to go back to that God, or that main particle. We have to move back to it, but as we came pure, we will go pure as well. So there's no heaven or hell in such situation. But as you said that there's like reincarnation and everything, right? So until like whatever you do on this earth or in this universe, right, you will have to pay for the same thing.
Yep.
Unless your credit is balanced, or right, you will not go back to the same thing.
Okay.
As you said, like unfinished business thing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have done crime or you have done anything wrong, you will have to be on earth. You will be on earth. You will not die until you repay for all that, like until you have suffered for what wrong you have done. Or even if you die, you will be brought back to life, either in the same body or the other. Right? And you will have to repay for the same thing.
Like karma.
Like karma. This is karma. This is the definition of karma. Repay. Karma actually means, karma comes from the Sanskrit word karma, which means work. Right. Everything that we do, what goes around comes around. Right.
I fully believe in that.
Yeah. So unless people are pure, unless people have paid for their wrongdoings, and they're a spiritual being, right? Like they were when they were born. Like kids don't know what's lie. Kids don't know what's crime. They don't
I
know
love
anything.
that about children. Yeah,
Right?
very, very, and cats as well.
So
They don't lie. Yeah.
if there would be anyone who would go back to the same God particle, that would have a mentality of a kid. I believe. So
that's great.
Nobody really ever dies. Either we come back to the life again, or we become a part of that same big being that we were.
I actually think while you were saying that, maybe life is like school. You know, we learn everything there. But if you do not have the knowledge to be able to do the test, like if I was going to study Hindi, I would need to know how to write and speak and everything in Hindi.
Unless you pass this test, you have to keep
repeating
it. So in order to get rid of this human life, you have to be able,
you have to have the skills.
You have to have the skills
to
get
to
out
the
of
next
here.
level, as they do on video games.
You need to attain the consciousness. If we were ever to become fathers, what are some of the methods that appeal to you?
I would love to be a father with you. You would be a father as well. But I would not feel comfortable if we adopted. And it sounds really horrible, but I would like at least one of the children
to be
genetically related to at least one of us, because both of us would be the fathers regardless of the genetics, which sounds a bit strange. But I would like, as I said, like I don't want to adopt, but I'm okay if the child is yours genetically. I would like to play a part in creating that life. So even if genetically the child wasn't mine, we made that decision to become fathers, and that was the child that we chose. So that is really important to me. But also, you don't see royal families adopting. You know, King Henry VIII, for example, he killed a couple of his wives and tore apart his religion, Catholicism, because he wanted a genetic son. But it wasn't just about having a genetic son, because he also had an acknowledged illegitimate son. But it was a very specific way about going about things. You know, the child had to be from marriage, and we're married now. So even if the child was yours genetically, at least
it will be considered both of ours.
So, but if we adopt, then the child will always have that thought in their mind that we're not their real parents, and that's really horrible to me. I don't want my child going through life thinking that we are their parents, and then having all of that be lost, or it just sounds, I don't want that at all. I want my child to know that we are their parents and we played a role in their life, more than just raising them. And also, if I really had the choice, there's actually a new science that they're working on where two men can genetically have a child together. So they will somehow alter the DNA so that it's possible, and that's what I would really love. I would love the child that we have to genetically be both of ours, or at least one of ours. What about you?
I'm not very in favor of getting a child, but if
Becoming parents.
if we ever do, if and when, I don't know. The option that I see is surrogacy, probably.
Yeah, surrogacy is great.
That's about it. Because I was even happy with the
you wanted
adoption.
Adoption was what you wanted, but I don't want that.
I only wanted adoption actually because I was thinking that there's already like 7 billion people on this planet, and we don't need another one to.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, we will agree to that one day. How would you improve the world if you could?
By doing talks like these, where we discuss us and give a good example of a gay couple, in the hopes that we will inspire people to not hate other gay people, or not hate themselves because they're gay, not kill other people, not kill yourself, not hurt other people, just love and be happy. So that's one way I would like to improve the world.
My idea has always been that education is the only one thing that can change the world.
Yep.
So I'm really passionate about that, and I would love it if in future, we could work towards it, that everybody can get educated up to at least year 12, at least that
and
level,
of education as well.
Good level of education,
Yeah.
where
not just the year 12, but actually
where they can learn about the fundamentals and things. And I would like to include a few practical skills in the schooling systems, like sports. I want to be mandatory in the school.
And I would also like if teachers chose who was on which team and not students, because I was never chosen in sports teams, and therefore I didn't play sports, and then I lacked a lot of social issues.
I would also like to include the driving lessons in the schools.
That's great.
So kids, when they get out of the school, as soon as they get out of the school, they already have their license on them, and
that's cool.
That's just amazing. An extra skill that you have in your hand. It doesn't hurt you having it in the back pocket.
No, that's cool. Because we already have work experience where the kids go out and work for free. Why can't they do driving lessons?
Wherever you do not have education, there's poverty, there's terrorism, there's crime.
Yep.
Right? If you would have better education, or just literally even the primary education in those third world countries where people are just starving and they can't afford to go there, like this should be one of the basic human rights, I believe.
Definitely.
So everyone can read and write, and they wouldn't be able to understand how important it is unless they start doing it themselves. So that's great. Yeah, that's the thing I think can change the world. If you could, what magic power would you have, and why?
I would like the ability, one, if I could really choose what power I had, to get whatever I want. But also, if I had the opportunity, I would really like to be able to communicate with people who have passed away in a way that I can literally teleport and then go have a conversation with Thomas Jefferson whenever I want, or my ancestors. I would use this specifically if I could travel through time. That's what I would like, actually. If I could travel through time, teleport through time, I would actually...
Traveling in time is
you know what I would do?
The craziest thing.
I know, you love this too. If I could travel through time, what would I do? I would document the genealogy of everyone. And it would take a long time. But because I can travel through time, I don't age. Anne Boleyn giving her speech before she was executed and things like that. So that way people can actually have these textbooks with real first-hand sources and things, and then we can really understand who we are as people and everything like that, you know.
My superpower would be teleporting, actually.
Yeah, I love that.
If I could teleport
Yeah.
to anywhere, anytime.
Mine too.
Whatever
Teleporting
time.
through time.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
through
purple
time.
smoke.
My one's red smoke, okay?
Okay. But yeah, why would you like to teleport?
Why would I like to teleport? Saves all of the expenses, I guess. You don't have to spend your fuel, your money, or your time.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is just you're there.
That's what I've always wanted to be able to teleport. I was picturing myself literally teleporting through time or anywhere. Yeah.
Right. So, last question of the day.
Yep.
What have you achieved in your life so far?
I believe I have achieved a lot. I was very good in school. I painted murals for the school. I created statues for the garden. I planted trees. That was very different to my fellow students who just cared about marbles and tazos and, I don't know, talking about the girls that they were probing on. So I was very active in my schooling community. I actually volunteered to tutor younger people, as I said. I also volunteered my time during recess and lunch to write on the school magazine, and I even suggested journalism as a course for my school, and I got a certificate for winning the competition for which class should be taught at our school at the time. I've self-published a few books, but I would rather get them into the publishing houses, to be honest. I had self-published them under a pseudonym, and I would rather have them properly published under my actual name. And what else have I achieved? I've taken back my family history research so
1600s?
far, like further than that.
My turn?
Yep.
What have I achieved with my life so far? That's a really hard question, by the way. I will start from the very beginning, I think. So I was always a really good student. I was always first in my class and always achieving better marks and better grades. And so all my life was mostly academic while I was in India. It felt like I wasn't doing anything else. But looking at it now I realize that how much I actually achieved there too, because my name used to be on the flex boards outside the school, and with my photo saying the star students, along with a few other students. And then when I was in year 12, I passed National Defense Academy examination in India, and it was like a really big achievement in that time, because I didn't do any formal training for that or anything. And people used to train for like 2 years, 3 years. They would go live away from the house just to study for that thing, and I didn't have to do any of this. So that was a really cool thing. And I didn't get to go there obviously because I had to come here, and and I got 7 out of 9 score in IELTS in India. IELTS.
What is that?
IELTS is International English Language Testing System. Right? They test English for people who were going to the English-speaking countries. So, and you
passed that.
Actually, a lot of English-speaking countries, like average students in English-speaking countries, they score usually 5.5.
Wow.
And I was up to 7. I still feel proud that
because you come from a place where they just stay in that village or go to the village when they move, the other village,
I've done a lot.
I've done more than I mentioned too.
Paid more than $100,000 for sister's wedding and everything, and got married.
I wish that I had mentioned that actually as well.
No one would ever imagine that I would ever get married. Even I didn't imagine that I would get married, but I would count it in my achievements.
Me too, actually. And this is a great marriage. I love you, baby.
And even in work, I've done.
Amazing. You blew me away.
I
Seeing him work a few times. Wow.
I started work just as a picker packer or like just a general laborer, and
made his way to the office because of how smart.
Then actually my ex-employer, you remember, I got you to meet him. He thought that it was like I was quite a good worker, and he paid for my forklift license out of his pocket.
Cool.
So that was another really.
How much was it?
It was like $700 or $800.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's great. Yeah.
So I didn't have to do any of it, but
he valued you that much.
Yeah, he valued me that much. So that was a really proud moment that they're, they're ready to invest in me. So that was a really big message for me.
Yeah.
And after that, after I got the forklift license, then I started doing a bit of management work, like pallet control and all that. It wasn't really management, it was more of a communication with everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a bit like management, to be honest. It was, you were managing.
I was managing equipment, but it was something
to be proud of.
Yeah, something to be proud of. But I was actually proud of the results that came after 3 months after I got the forklift ticket.
Yeah.
And I did something that people didn't do in years before. My employer was in debt, not in debt, should I say, like behind in equipments.
Yep.
So they were losing a lot of equipments in their chapels and stuff. So and I started working on it. I got out of my own time, even when I wasn't getting paid for it.
Yeah, I even saw those documents you made. You were really thorough.
I would print out all the delivery dockets and just take them home, study them, see what I need to do tomorrow.
Yep.
And good.
Didn't you save $2,000 a week for your manager?
$2,000 a week. That's how much they saved.
Yeah.
So it was a really big achievement.
Yeah.
But because of it, I got really famous in the Sydney markets after that.
Yeah.
I did quite a few things. Yeah. That was good.
That's really good. You did accomplish a lot, baby.
I don't know, was it a lot or not? But it was good. It was a good journey.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, that was.
So that's the end of our marital questionnaire.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for getting to know us.
And please don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube channel.
Please subscribe, please.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.